John, I'm going to compare your swing to Grant Wade, who was a tour player during the 90s and considered by many as having one of the best swings in golf. He's now one of the top instructors of tour players. I'm going to begin at the impact position, which is considered the most important because everything the golf ball does, how far it goes, how high it goes, how much it spins and curves, is a direct response to the laws of physics and motion at the moment of impact. The club's position at impact is what determines those laws of physics. The club's position is determined by how the body is positioned at impact. And everything the body and the player does prior to impact has the sole purpose of arriving at a fundamentally sound impact position. You must hit the ball before you hit the ground. You must put the low point of your swing arc in front of the golf ball so that you can hit the ball before you hit the ground. The pros accomplish this in two main ways. First, they make sure that their body is on top of their left foot, that the majority of their weight is on their left side at the moment of impact. The average pro will have 85% of their weight on their left side at the moment of impact. As you look at that red line coming off of Grant's left foot, you can see it's passing right through his belt buckle. So he clearly has the majority of his weight on his left side. You have a little bit more weight on your left side than your right, so that's in pretty good position there. I would like for you to enhance that even further so that you can get even more on top of that left foot at impact. The second thing the pros do is that they make sure that their hands are in front of the golf ball at the moment of impact. I've drawn a blue arrow straight down to the ground from Grant's hands, and you can see that his hands are indeed in front of the ball. The red line is the shaft of the club, and you can see that Grant has created this shaft lean at impact. And so because his hands are in front of the ball, he's creating a shaft lean towards the target. This allows him to be hitting down into the golf ball so that he can hit the ball first and the ground second. Your shaft is a little bit more vertical. You don't really have much shaft lean at all. So you're going to be approaching the golf ball from a more shallow position. And this is going to cause some inconsistency at hitting the ball solid. With this shallow attack angle, you're going to hit too often, sometimes hit the ground, hit it fat, or you'll miss the ground and hit the ball thin. So it would be good for you to get your weight more forward and your hands more forward so that you can also be hitting down into the golf ball a little bit more. This will give you better compression into the golf ball, and you'll create more ball speed without having to create more club hit speed. Now let's look at some of the positions prior to impact and see what those positions, how they may be influencing your impact position. In your setup, you have a little bit of shaft lean at the beginning. I like that a lot. So you're kind of rehearsing or previewing a good impact position with your setup, and that's important. In terms of your grip, I don't have a close-up of this, but it looks like from here that your right hand is a little too much on top of the club, and that your right hand is not in the same plane as the face of the club. I don't know what your ball flight is, but this, if your ball flight is sometimes too often to the right, it could be the right hand's position on the club could be a contributing factor to that. You'll notice that this crease in this forefinger is actually pointing out this way, and Grant is pointing more to the center of his body. So he's put his right hand, or the palm position, is in the same plane as the face of the club. And yours is a little bit too much in a weak position there. So it might be something where you work a little bit on your grip to see how that may influence a better ball flight. Here we are in the setup in terms of the weight distribution. You can see how Grant has set a little bit more weight on his left side than his right. So in the beginning of the swing, he's setting his low point in front of the golf ball. He does that both with his hands slightly in front of the ball at the setup, and his weight is on a little bit more on that left side at setup. He has about 55% of his weight on his left foot at the beginning of the swing. There is no value in setting the low point of the swing behind the golf ball. ball at any time during the golf swing. And so you don't want to set more weight on your back foot than you do your left foot. When you look at your setup, you're sitting back into that right leg more, and you actually have a little bit more weight on your your right side than you do your left. So it would be an important adjustment for you to make early on in your improvement of your golf swing, is just to set up a little bit more on the left side than the right. Try to get about 55% of your weight on that left foot, and not so much in the back foot. I'm now going to go from the 1 position to the 3 position, and so we can see the action of the backswing. First I'll do Grant. As Grant goes back from 1 to 3, 3 is when the left arm is parallel to the ground. You can see how he keeps his head steady. He doesn't go up or down. It just stays right in there. Also notice that he stays on his left side. He's not swaying to the right or moving to the right. His left knee and left hip and left shoulder stay right on top of his left foot. Now I'm going to do the same thing with your backswing from going from 1 to 3. First I want you to watch your head in relationship to the red line. Notice that you stand up and get much taller now, so you're way above the golf ball, so you're going to have to really drop down again on the downswing in order to get the club back to the level of the golf ball. So you have this lift right there, and so that's going to be really problematic, and you're going to have to learn how to make the turn, just turn without the spine angle lifting. So his eyes are the same level to the ball at 3 as it is at 1. And your eyes are much higher now, so you're going to have to learn to make a turn without a lift. Not only are you lifting, you have really moved even a little bit more to the right. You can see how your left hip is moving towards the back leg a little bit there. So you've actually put the low point even further behind the golf ball, which is going to add a complexity to your golf swing of having to try to figure out how to get the low point of your swing in front of the ball at impact. Now I'm going to take you up to the end of the backswing and then through the impact and look at the transition and move through the ball. First I'll do Grant. Grant goes up and down right there. You can see how he goes up and down, and when he gets to here, it has a nice extension in both arms. So he's actually falling even more to the left as he comes through, and he gets to the 9th position, which is when the right arm is parallel to the ground. His right arm is straight and extended. His left arm is straight and extended. His left hand is underneath the right hand here, and his elbows are close together. His right hip and right knee are right on top of his back foot. I'm sorry, his front foot there, his left foot. As we look at your swing go up and through, you can see how your elbows separate right there, and how your left hand is above the right hand, and your arms have a bent, or both elbows are bent. So we need to learn how to properly hit the ball and activate our hands and release our hands properly through the ball at impact. You have a good solid foundation of fundamentals. We just need to add a few more pieces. I would begin with maybe looking at your grip, and when you in your setup. When you set up, you want to be just a little bit more on your left side, and then you need to do some 1-3 drills where you learn how to turn and rotate the hip and the shoulder without lifting, and then learning how to release the hands through impact correctly.